You're listening to 59.5 Retirement Chat Radio, powered by My Retirement Exit. Now here's your host, Jenny Jones.
Hello, caller. Welcome to Retirement Chat Radio. Let's start with your name and where you're calling from.
Hi, my name is Susanna, and I'm calling from France. Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, wow, Susanna. Okay, from France. Okay, what is the purpose of your call today?
Thanks again for having me on the show. I think it's a very good initiative to have this kind of way of asking these questions. So my case is a bit particular because I'm actually Colombian. I've worked my entire life in France, and now I'm thinking to move to the US, to New York. And I would like to know how does it work? I mean, I've always had my retirement plan in France, and now that I'm moving to the US, it's better for me to keep paying my taxes and my retirement plan in France. So it's better to move everything to the US. I would really like to know how this all works in the US. So yeah, it's a it's a big question. Thanks for answering it.
Wow, you have a lot going on there. You have Colombia, France, New York. Okay, so let me start with my disclaimer. Please do not take my responses as actual advice, as I will only speak in hypotheticals. Please always consult with your own professional advisor, as they are the only ones that know your entire situation. Okay, so now if I had a person come into my office with a similar situation and I had to answer a question in a vacuum like that, I mean, the first thing I would tell them is begin with the end in mind when it comes to making any retirement decision. You know, as Stephen Covey has said, but I mean, where would your final destination be? First of all, let's start with that question. That person would have to know ultimately or have a good idea where they would land after their working or accumulation years. Let's see. I would also tell that person that came into my office that there is nothing wrong with having more than one bucket to draw from when it comes to the distribution years. So when they turn on the faucets and begin to receive money back and they're no longer working, they would have more than one bucket to pull from. It's a good idea to always add diversification by not having all your eggs in one basket. Okay. And as always, seek out your own financial professional who knows everything before you begin giving you advice. They do this by taking a financial intake form or some informational form that way they will know where all your assets are. This gives them a full picture so that the advice that they provide will be very sound. Hey, thanks for your call, Susanna. Next caller. Welcome to Retirement Chat. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, this is Taylor calling from Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay, Taylor from Memphis, Tennessee. What's the purpose of your call today?
Thank you for taking my call. My question is, I am a stay-at-home mom, and my husband is about to retire. And we have a 11-year-old boy, and we don't have that much in savings. My question is, what can we do to prepare ourselves for his retirement with a child that young? My husband is retiring in 2 years.
Okay, that's a good question, Taylor. Let's see. Stay-at-home mom, husband, about to retire, 11-year-old son, retiring. Okay, retiring in 2 years. Let's see. Okay, let me start with my disclaimer. Please do not take my responses as actual advice, as I will only speak in hypotheticals. Please always consult with your own professional advisor, as they are the only ones that know your entire situation. Okay, this is a good question. And I think it goes beyond the scope of the basic questions that we answer here with limited information. But we do want to try to give you some takeaways in this call for just making the effort of calling in. So here we go. If I had a person come into my office with a similar situation, I first would share with them that according to the Federal Reserve, in a survey conducted in 2019, 17% of all or most Americans between the ages of 45 and 59 do not have a retirement savings. So those are the brutal facts. So I would tell that person that came into my office, they would not be alone in this situation. I would also share with them what I share with most of my workshop attendees about retirement. I would share my personal quote that once you realize retirement is about protecting your lifestyle, it becomes elementary. Okay, so what do you mean by that statement? Well, it becomes easy because all you need to do is take out a piece of paper. I would tell them, take out a piece of paper from your son's binder, and you write down two numbers. You'd write the number 1, and then right underneath it immediately, you'd write the number 2. Then what I would write down the numbers. I would say on line number 1, I would write down the estimated amount that their husband and or spouse would be getting in retirement the first month of retirement. Say, hey, this is exactly what you're going to be getting once you retire. I would write that number down on line 1. Then on line 2, I'd write down entire monthly bills of all total bills that you have or expenses. I would put that actual total down on line 2. Then I would subtract line 2 from line 1. Whatever number they get would tell them if their lifestyle will be protected or not. It's elementary. For example, if the number is a positive number, then they would stand a chance to be okay at first glance, and if all expenses are considered. If that number is a negative number or the number is rather small, then there's a current lifestyle. Their current lifestyle would be at risk. I would also tell them to make sure that they get with a planner to make sure that they have calculated all their income obligations correctly. This is the biggest challenge. Most people don't calculate all their expenses because there's unforeseen expenses. And at a time such as now, like inflationary periods, you have to be able to adjust for that and make sure that that's considered. As inflation, it tends to come in cycles and or a cyclical nature, probably every, 2 to 3 years, or I would say 2 to 5 years, right? So as always, seek out a financial professional who knows everything about you before giving you advice. They do this by taking a financial intake form where they know where all of your assets are. Assets are things that you own or you can liquidate or turn into cash, right? That's the short answer. This would give them a full picture so that the advice that they provide would be sound. And also remember, if you want to make sure that you stay in the loop on all things retirement, you can always sign up for our webinar waiting list and catch the next live stream webinar or workshop on retirement. If you go to our website, you should be able to see a link for that there as well. So that's retirementchatradio.com. Bottom left, and you'll see it says live streams and or webinars. Click on that, get on our waiting list, and you should be good to go. All right. Hey, thanks for your call. Next caller, welcome to Retirement Chat Radio. What's your name and where you calling from?